What is up, YouTube? This is T.1 coming at you with another video. And today I want to talk about Mad Max Fury Road. Now, Fury Road is the latest installment in the Mad Max series. It's been a gap of about 30 years since the last one. That's a long-ass time. And there's been a lot of hype surrounding this movie, myself included. I openly stated this was my most anticipated film for this year in a previous video. The same year we had The Avengers Age of Ultron, Jurassic World, and Star Wars The Force Awakens. This stood out to me as my most anticipated. And I was not disappointed in the slightest. Mad Max Fury Road is hands down one of the best action movies I've ever seen, if not the best. I'd put it on par with The Dark Knight. And that's saying something. It's easily the best sequel since either Toy Story 3 or The Dark Knight. I don't know. They're both great sequels, and Mad Max Fury Road has earned its spot in that pantheon of brilliant sequels that have improved upon the previous entries. I'd say it's about equal, if not better, than The Road Warrior, and that's really saying something, as The Road Warrior is one of my favorite movies of all time. But let's get back to Fury Road. Now, Fury Road, the plot is minimalist. It's very simple, but it's also just really entertaining. It's mainly about the action, and the action is glorious. The action scenes in this movie are some of the most insane I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's all practical effects, almost all. There's a couple CG shots in there, but mostly when you see a car blowing up, it's a car blowing up, and that is pretty damn refreshing in this age of just CGI. I think there's so much action in this movie that it made the Hobbit Battle of Five Armies look just super slow in comparison. Because the Hobbit Battle of Five Armies, that was pretty heavy on the action, and Mad Max just kicks it into overdrive with almost all action scenes. I'd say most of the time something is going on that is action oriented, and that was really fun to see. Now, as I said before, it's been 30 years since we've entered the world of the Wasteland, but it feels like it was just yesterday. You just immediately from the start, you're right in the world of Mad Max, and it's awesome. Okay, and speaking of Mad Max, Tom Hardy actually did a really good job as the character. Now, I know some people were skeptical because Mel Gibson is iconic as Max. You know, he's the only other guy that's played that role. But I think Tom Hardy did a good job, and for a time, I forgot I was watching a different actor. You know, I just started seeing the character Max. And speaking of characters, this one has probably the best cast of characters out of any of the movies. Because before, I think Max was the only character you cared about in the other movies. But in this, characters like Nux, played by Nicholas Hoult, is brilliant. He gives depth to the sort of endless horde of enemies they're fighting. You know, he's one of them, and it gives reasons for why the people in this movie are fighting for this villain. Speaking of the villain, he's actually very good in this. I don't like him as much as Lord Humongous, but he's a decent villain. Uh, he's one of the only elements I consider weak of the movie. He doesn't have a whole lot of character, but you know what? He's just there to be a badass, and he does it fine. Um, Speaking of badasses, Furiosa, played by Charlize Theron, is as big a badass as Max ever was. You know, she's a really great character and adds to the very well-rounded cast of this film. All the characters you really do care about. You know, and for a movie with such a simple premise and story, that really is a testament to how great George Miller is as a filmmaker, that you actually care about these people. No matter how little, actually, there's some development in here. And that was a bit surprising for me. But, you know, I don't know what the fuck you were doing with your life if you haven't seen Mad Max Fury Road. This movie has redefined action movies and is one that'll go down in history as a classic. I know it because I have not seen a movie this good in a long ass time. It took me back to being a kid, even though it was really violent. In that, you know, when you're a kid, movies seem better than they are now. You know, because nostalgia goggles. This was just so good. I can't even explain it. It was just so amazing. You just got to go see it. I'm really actually angry that this is number 2 in the box office because people need to see this. This movie is absolutely fantastic. Just guys, take it from me. Just go see it. I'm gonna give Mad Max Fury Road a 10 out of 10. And I kind of regret giving other movies 10 out of 10. This movie right here is the definition of a 10 out of 10. A perfect fucking movie. It is fantastic. So yeah, 10 out of 10. This is T Quentin 1 signing out.